guys, so welcome back to Favorite Friday. For this case, we are going back to Michigan. This case is out of Orringtonville, which I know I definitely have not covered a case, but I definitely thought this case should be covered considering the sentence that our killer got, the method of murder, and the public reactions to her sentence. This is kind of considered a controversial case, so obviously you can imagine with controversial cases, the reactions, of course, are going to be mixed. So with that being said, I'm going to give what's publicly known down below. If you know anybody involved in the case, whether it be the victim, or killer, the victim's family, stuff like that, let me know as always. So with that being said, I'm going to go clear my rambling. Let's get started. So we actually don't have a date of birth on Conrad, who unfortunately is our victim in this case. However, of course, he is married to a woman by the name of Julie. Julie apparently was told at one point that she would never be able to have kids biologically. So of course, her and Conrad, they proceed to adopt, because that's an option that you have when you can't have kids biologically. And then they adopt a 2-year-old son in 2002 named Austin. And then apparently there was a girl by the name of Megan Joyce. She was born September 29, 2003. So I guess after Conrad and Julie actually adopt Austin and Megan, I guess like a miracle happens because they actually do wind up getting pregnant with their daughter named Morgan. So then after this happens, they then proceed to start a business called KJAM, standing for Conrad, Julie, Austin, Megan, and Morgan. Basically what they make like cloth diapers, so I guess like reusable diapers, because like disposable diapers are getting too expensive. Julie went on to start have another kid, this time a son by the name of Ian, so AIN. And then Julie would go on to start a business for women that are struggling with high-risk pregnancy, obviously, of course, while they're pregnant. And then Conrad would apparently start drinking around this time, and this is the time that they split. And so Austin and Megan, they are in their adolescent age when Conrad and Julie split up. And so because their dads are drunk, they're able to get away with more. And so they obviously, of course, decide we're going to go stay with our dads so we can get away with more. So then Ian and Morgan, his biological kids, they stopped coming over because due to the decline of the house. Megan and Austin are out doing God knows what, and he's drunk. So obviously the house is not being taken care of as it should. And so Austin and Megan would actually have to help take care of Conrad simply because obviously he's a drunk and the stuff that he's supposed to be doing as himself as a man, he is not doing. So then Austin, of course with him being older, as soon as he graduates high school, he moves out like as soon as possible. And then he would later say, he essentially said, apparently, that he wanted nothing to do with the family, I guess due to his adoptive dad being a drunk. And so then Megan would apparently threaten a teacher, and this gets her expelled. And then Conrad, while apparently still being a drunk, he apparently got her homeschooled. At one point, Megan had actually took a car and apparently wrecked it because Conrad would not take her to where she needed to go. They had multiple cats, and of course, there was not a designated litter box for these cats, so these cats were just using the bathroom everywhere. And then Julie at one point, even though it's her ex-husband, because remember they had separated, she actually tried to come and help clean the place up because she kind of felt bad for Conrad because she's just that kind of person. And apparently one room by itself took at least a good 10 hours to clean. So I guess she just didn't come back after that, saying it took practically a whole day just for you to clean just one room. And so I guess during September of 2021, Megan was planning her 18th birthday party. Remember I said she was born September 29th, but I guess she wanted the party on October 1st. So more of her friends were available on October 1st. And so she's over telling Conrad that, like, hey, I want a hotel party. And obviously she's 18, so you would think she would pay for it herself, but I guess she was getting Conrad to pay for it. He's supposed to pay for the hair, the hotel, everything essentially. So then on the day of, she finds him passed out on the couch, drunk as usual. Like I said, he's an alcoholic. So then apparently she threw stuff at him, one of which was a lye bottle. And this is after apparently he would not wake up because apparently he was so sick to the hair appointment, and obviously he's drunk, and you're not supposed to be driving while you're drunk. And apparently he is passed out, just wasted. Okay, so this is normal apparently. And so then she calls a friend named Kayla, and then Kayla asked apparently what's wrong, and then Megan had told her that, I threw stuff at my dad, and then apparently she took like a Snapchat picture and sent it to Kayla, and then asked Kayla, can you give me a ride, I assume to the hair appointment. So then Megan apparently gets to the hair appointment, and she's about to use her father's credit card to swipe it, to pay for it. And it ain't working, so of course she calls him, try to get the pin, figure out, am I putting in the wrong pin? Like, am I using the wrong card? Like, what's going on? So then Conrad's not answering, because again, still wasted essentially. And so she winds up calling her adoptive grandfather, and she winds up getting him to pay for it. And then Kayla texts back and says, yeah, I can take you to the hotel afterwards. And then Megan, by the point, had already got someone to take her, because she lets Kayla know that, hey, I already got someone to take me, but thanks. So around 3:45, apparently Megan would ask if she can go get the PIN number from Conrad or the credit card. From his credit card for the hotel, because apparently they still not pay for the hotel. They're waiting till day of to do all this, and also to check on him. So she goes in, and this man apparently is naked with nothing but a towel covering him, He is covered in bruises. Apparently, there's like purple-ish bruises, and his legs apparently have a greenish color to them. And apparently, she sent Kayla actually go in and get the number from Conrad. So it was actually Kayla that witnessed all this. So then apparently, Megan actually calls her, I guess, to see what's taking so long. And apparently, Conrad, I guess, was still somewhat conscious, so he actually yells the PIN numbers out loud. And then Kayla, of course, tells, like, there's something wrong with your dad. His fingertips are fucking purple, legs are fucking green. Like, it's not looking good. So then Megan proceeds to tell Kayla, well, he's just drunk, and to call Austin. And then Kayla apparently calls her own mom. Kayla calls her own mom and tells her what's going on. Doesn't say what the mom said there. But then she proceeds to call Austin, tells him what's going on. He says, call 911, I'll be over right away. So, of course, EMS, paramedics, all of them, they arrive. Conrad is, of course, taken away. Austin shows up on the scene. So then Austin shows up with one of his friends named Lucas. They go inside and they see the white product, which later found out to be the lie that I mentioned earlier, was on the couch, with blood on the couch. So then, of course, they asked Conrad while he was in the hospital, what do you remember? And he said that he had set up a bug bomb because the cats had fleas. And they had also mentioned that Megan had apparently threw clothes, bread, hair dye, and chemical supplies. So then apparently, I guess Kayla did not give Megan the PIN number. And so I guess she calls Austin because she heard Austin was at the house and was asking Austin, like, hey, could you give me the PIN number? And apparently she hung up once Austin couldn't give her the PIN number because that's all she seemed to really care about at this moment. And a nurse apparently overheard Austin say that Megan apparently had poured some sort of chemical on him, so that she realizes it's a burn. So then, of course, police have to get involved because it's now a crime. And Austin then called Julie and asked her to look for Conrad's phone and any chemicals that might be nearby. And then Julie apparently goes with Morgan's boyfriend, and then they proceed to find the bed from Conrad's room was actually missing. And apparently there was also feces and mold everywhere, which really is surprising considering how many animals were said actually been in the house. Julie apparently calls Conrad's phone and it's still there on the table. And so then, of course, she takes the phone, which I know is tampered with evidence, but, before this phone mysteriously disappears. And then Julie, I guess with her own phone, she proceeds to take pictures of evidence of, like, chemicals being at the scene, and then proceeds to bring the phone to Conrad while he's in the hospital. So Conrad apparently had tests done to see what type of chemicals were used to burn you. Now we just discovered it's a chemical burn. And he says, I've only had one drink. So apparently he, according to him, went to sleep, finished the one drink that he claims he had, set up a bug bomb, and then proceeded to start watching a movie. And then 6 hours after getting picked up from the hospital due to these injuries, his alcohol blood level is 0.255. So, of course, police eventually arrive and they question the group who didn't mention the white powder. Austin proceeds to go to the house to find said white powder, and of course it is still there. He finds the bottle that it's in. He calls Megan and basically blames her for the burns. Conrad is transferred to another hospital. And so then apparently the cats that were staying there actually went with Austin and his friend Lucas. They didn't specify how many cats, but I guess I was like to assume at least 2. The police, of course, by this point, they are now looking for Megan. And Julie tells them about the hotel that she apparently was supposed to be staying in. And then the hotel was like, we just saw a group of teenagers leave. And of course, Megan was in that group. So then she's told that her father is in the hospital with injuries and that she did apparently admit that she threw bread. So then, of course, she gets asked, is there a possibility that any items that you threw may have possibly contained some sort of white powder? And then she says, I think so. So at that point, she's then arrested and charged with $70,000 bond on the charge of intent to do great bodily harm. Scratch that. She's charged with assault that resulted in great bodily harm. Conrad is actually asked to see, like, what do you remember getting thrown at you? And do you give us a legal consent to search your house? I forgot where these birds came from. And he gave them the legal consent. They see the lie bottle and they photograph it, but they do not physically collect the bottle from the scene until weeks later. And so Conrad apparently would actually get the dead skin that was basically killed from the chemical burn. We get that removed so that way the new skin that eventually was supposed to grow back, that's supposed to grow there, would have a better chance of fighting. Austin apparently would take over any, I guess, power of attorney for any, like, medical decisions y'all decide to do. Like, I'm technically the oldest, so I'm taking over. And Julie apparently would create a group chat for Austin, Megan, all the kids, essentially. And Austin felt like that they should not be there. So Conrad would eventually need a tracheotomy. I hope I said that right. And apparently lost his voice and needed kidney dialysis. And apparently at one point eventually, like I said, with the chemical burn mostly on his legs, he did eventually get amputated. 5 months later, he was apparently returned home. Conrad was apparently returned home for hospice, and Austin had actually had the house make sure it was clean, so that way it was properly clean for when Conrad got home. And he also limited who could actually see Conrad. And Conrad apparently died like 3 days after returning home on March 6, 2022. So then Megan gets arrested again because I guess they paid the bail for her to get released the first time. She gets arrested again for murder now that Conrad has died, and that's how the family found out he died. So Conrad essentially died of chemical burns that compromised with the kidney and the lungs, and also both of those things are very important to live. And so they essentially fucked his body up. Just spraying the lye on the outside, it fucked his insides up, and obviously you need that to live. So they was like, we did what we could, and he essentially died from that. So then Megan apparently would try to say that, well, how do we know Conrad did not put the lye bottle himself? Because remember, he was a drunk. So obviously, you're drunk. You're not going to be able to remember you doing stuff like that. And also, how do we know that the police did not plant the lie? Because they saw it, and she's claiming that nobody else saw it. So how do we know that I'm not being framed? So Megan has been found guilty. Prosecution asks that she gets the heaviest term possible, which is 7 years, where she asks, of course, that she get the lightest term possible, which is 4 years. She winds up getting sentenced to 1 year that apparently she had already served. Like after the attack before he had died. And so she gets that credit, basically like time already served credit, and 5 years probation. And so I don't know for how long, because this sentence happened literally like last year apparently. She is required to get a high school diploma or GED, because obviously when she went to jail, she also was not able to complete high school, a 9 p.m. curfew, and an ankle monitor. And so after being released, which is the controversial part because some people believe she should have served a longer sentence, she says that most of her statement that she got was actually from the help of Jennifer Crumbley, who apparently is the mother of school shooter Ethan Crumbley, because apparently they were in jail together. So they were jailmates, cellmates, whatever you want to call it. And then apparently in January of 2024, she was actually supposed to testify at Jennifer's trial, but was kicked out. Didn't specify why. Just, I guess they figured Megan was an unreliable witness. Said she was also in jail for being involved in somebody's death. Yeah. And so the last thing I'd heard about Megan was that apparently she's supposed to get married September 29th of this year. And I'm recording this October 28th. So she got married the day she's supposed to. She's been married about a month at the time this video being released. So like I said, if anybody knows Megan, if she did want to get married, because I found like the wedding website, I guess that makes sense, while doing research for this case. So yeah, just let me know what you think. Let me, if you got a heavier punishment, no punishment at all. Just let me know what you think down below. Like I said, I cover videos 3 times a week. Subscribe for more fail females. I'll see you guys next one. Bye.